Why do the lights keep going out? New Hampshire's Executive Council takes on Mother Nature, coming up in the Cloakroom. Hi, I'm Grant Bosse, and this is The Cloakroom, a video magazine from the Josiah Bartlett Center for Public Policy. Over the past 3 years, New Hampshire's been hit with the 4 largest power outages in New Hampshire history. This week, New Hampshire's Executive Council tried to get to the bottom of the matter. Are utility companies preparing or responding to storms differently, or have we just been hit with the perfect storms? At the request of the Council, Governor John Lynch invited the heads of New Hampshire's utilities to a special meeting to determine why power outages of the last few years have been so much worse than previous years. Ice, wind, rain, and snow have put half the Granite State in the dark 4 times since 2008. Is it just bad luck, or are power companies failing to adequately protect their lines from the danger of falling trees? This October's snowstorm left 300,000 New Hampshire homes and businesses without power, some for as long as 6 days. But PSNH President Gary Long says he's satisfied with his company's response.
This was another one of those extreme weather events. It's a one of a kind. And I know people are getting a little tired of saying that. We're getting a little tired of saying it ourselves because in the last few years we've seen things like we've never seen before.
Unitil had 50,000 customers knocked out in October. CEO Bob Schoenberger says he and his counterparts had hundreds of line crews in place a day before the snow started falling.
We brought in 200 crews, down wires people, tree crews from as far away as Michigan and Canada, and we were back in 72 hours. So we're very happy with that. I will say something that since this is the 4th 100-year event we've had in the last 3 years, we can understand how the public feels about these events. We're as tired of these events as they are.
Long says the ice storm of 2008, the windstorm of 2010, Hurricane Irene, and Snowtober have one thing in common. They knocked down a lot of trees.
You said something about robust tree trimming. You know, 100% of these outages essentially were tree related. And we talk about this every storm because it's all about trees. You know, we are the second most forested state in the nation. Our arborist, who spends $14 million a year trimming trees, said, Gary, you can give me as much money as you want to give me, and I still can't make this the 3rd most forested state in the nation. You know, we are about trees. We have more trees now than we had in the 1600s and the 1700s. It's all about trees.
Councillor Chris Sununu doesn't believe that Mother Nature alone can explain the recent surge in storm-related power failures. He asked the utility executives if they or the legislature have been doing anything differently that might explain the problem.
I take a couple issues. I don't buy that it's completely the weather. We've had major storms before. We've had hurricanes before. I mean, Irene wasn't even a hurricane, it was a tropical storm. We've had wet snow early and late, and I understand that some of these were more extreme. The windstorm was extreme. We've had windstorms. So what I'd like to get into is some of those other things, those external changes that you guys might have seen. And it requires looking back a little bit in history to now. And it could be anything. Have regulations change that limit what you can do with your trim zone. Have regulations change in terms of how you can budget, how you can allocate your funds in terms of maintenance.
But Long says that's not the reason. He said unprecedented weather, hitting in areas with much denser populations than past decades, have led to more severe outages.
We can take 2 feet of snow, and there's been 2 feet of snow in New Hampshire before. If it's dry, fluffy, I know the towns have a problem with it. We don't have a problem. Come on, give me 3 feet of dry snow, we'll be fine. But the heavy wet snow, as I tried to say in my opening remarks, has never occurred in New Hampshire in October when there's leaves on there. Never have we had 20 to 30 inches of heavy wet snow, and we have numbers there on how many tonnages of weight is on the trees. So of course the trees are going to break.
In 2009, the legislature passed Senate Bill 195, which amended the rights of utilities to cut back tree growth on private property. But the utility heads insist that law didn't impair their ability to trim branches near the lines or cut down dead trees that might topple in the next big storm. But Sununu still isn't convinced.
The general consensus is weather. It's just the weather. I think there are some other issues there that we had to dig down. it took a little bit, but eventually we got them starting to talk about some of the legislative issues that could be brought up, whether it's allowing them more flexibility in their tree trimming, what they call their trim zone, possibly expanding that. We had to drill down a little bit to get there, to get past the weather-related answer. So I think there are a few other items there, and again, I think hopefully as the data comes in and as we start analyzing that, we'll be able to make a more deeper assessment of what the needs are.
See, that's the thing about the weather. Everybody complains about it, but nobody ever does anything. The council is hoping for more data from the utilities on their preparation and response to severe storms, so that the next time New Hampshire gets hit with some big weather, the lights don't go out across the Granite State. I'm Grant Bosse from the Josiah Bartlett Center for Public Policy. Thanks for joining us in the Cloakroom.